Hello out there, baseball fans and fans of simulation gaming. Welcome to another episode of OOTP 23 Genesis Perfect Team. This is simulation gaming, digital realities. Again, I'm a new channel. I have dedicated myself to covering two different brands for right now. One, of course, is the OOTP franchise, and the other is an app known as LiQWYD. Both of them I spend a lot of time on. I enjoy both of these, and in a strange sort of way, both of them involve baseball. So if you're new to the channel, please leave a like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me who your favorite team is. Growing up, I was a Dodgers fan, and then I became a Blue Jay fan by default because I live in Canada. So I got to see some of the Blue Jay World Series wins back to back, and still a huge baseball and Blue Jay fan today. Welcome to the channel, Simulation Gaming. Let's continue where we left off in the last video. In the first video, we looked at forming our perfect team, forming my perfect team. But kind of since you guys are watching, I feel like you're part of this experience as well. So I'm going to call it our perfect team. And hopefully I can pass on some strategies that have worked for me. Again, I've been playing OOTP since version number 9. So that's about 14 or 15 years ago now. And I've played every single version of the perfect team since it came out 3 years ago. So although by no means am I an expert, I feel I've got a good grasp for what it takes to become successful in running a fairly competitive team on Perfect Team. Last video we looked at putting the cards together, opening the packs, putting the team together, and then trying to figure out who the best players were for the team. And then we watched the results from the first simulation, which we won 2-0. So I'm picking up the game now after game number 32. And as you can see kind of up in the top corner, we came back from a huge deficit to win this game. One thing I love about baseball is no lead is insurmountable. And here's proof. We were behind 7-3 going into the bottom of the 9th and came back and defeated the Asheville Tourists by a score of 8-7. So let's take kind of a look at how that winning inning came together. So I'm going to go down to the bottom of the 9th. So we were facing, a fairly reputable closer in Kenley Jansen. Nick Senzel led off with a single for the Gladiators. Sean Murphy struck out, and Mike Yastrzemski flew out to, looks like, the center field. So we have 1 on, 2 out, bottom of the 9th, and we're down 7-3. This is where the comeback begins. Bill Russell singled, moving Nick Senzel to second. A new pitcher was brought in, Daryl Knowles. Eddie Collins doubled. Bill Mueller walked. And then DJ, our diamond pull in our packs in the last video, he doubled, which scored 2 runs. And then Mel Ott, the face of our franchise. We secured Mel Ott in our very last pack opening in the first video. He doubled, which scored 2 runs, which gave the Gladiators a come-from-behind victory. Love to see it. So after 32 games, the Gladiators are 22-10. Remember that once you join Perfect Team, everyone is placed into a general entry pool. depending on when you joined and when you created your team, you may be placed in a different entry pool. And we've had a lot of success so far. Even though there's no awards or trophies for the entry pool, we are in 3rd place right now. So we're behind the Mudville 9 and the El Cerrito Peditos. So I'd consider that a huge success. I'm happy with how the team is performing so far. If we look through all the other teams, being in the top 3 is quite the achievement. What I want to look at in this video is, should we make any changes? Who's performing well? And who might need to be kind of sent back to the reserve list? But before we do that, I am going to open a few packs. When you achieve accomplishments within the game, you receive perfect points. So in the last game, because of our come from behind win, Mel Ott and the Gladiators were able to achieve some points. And you can check out how many points that you receive very easily. You simply go to your transaction history, and it will show you the date that you receive different points. I was able to put up zeros and get 100 points for that. Also in the same game, a walk-off run and a comeback. So we see the May 5th games here. There were a few games where achievements were made, and that allowed me to gain some perfect points. I bought a couple cards off the aftermarket, just a couple bronze cards. I wanted to fill out some bronze players so I could practice a few bronze tournaments. And I was able to earn enough perfect points so I could buy a few packs. Try to improve the team moving forward. So let's buy a few packs. I've got 4,000 points, so I'm going to get the maximum 4 packs. Now, typically, I wouldn't spend all my perfect points on packs. However, in this case, I will, because it's early on and you just never know what you might pull. All right, so let's open these up. Let us see. Yesterday, we were rewarded with some good cards. 4 bronze, a couple iron. Looks like we have average. One thing again about the live players is that if they perform really well in real life, their attributes will increase. Once again, OOTP does this on a monthly basis, so hang on to your cards of players who are performing well in the major leagues, because they may go from a bronze to a silver, or a silver to a diamond, or even from a diamond to a perfect. Next pack, let's see what we get. We get all live players, but we did get a couple silver who might help our team in the short term. And not only help our team in the short term, but also fill in some of the components that we might need in some of the set challenges. Next pack, let's try and get at least 1 gold. No, we got another silver. We did get a historical card. Love the artwork. Fantastic job, developers. Whoever develops the artwork for the game, buy that guy a coffee. He deserves it, or she, or they, whoever is part of the designing team. All right, 1 more pack here, guys. What do you think our highest card is going to be? Quickly leave a comment down below before you watch it. What's the highest value card? I'm going to guess it's going to be a 68. I think it's going to be a dud pack, and we'll get a 68 historical. Let's see. And, well, we did get a couple 69s, so pretty close. all live players, all players which again can help in set collection, but no real standout in the opening of the packs in today's episode. All right, let's go back and let's see who's making the grade and who is not. We look at our pitching rotation. Very happy with most of these guys. Look at Logan Webb. Logan Webb has started off the entry pool 5-1. In fact, he's won his last 4 games in a row. So his earned run average is above average, very acceptable. He's only given up a couple home runs in the games that we can see, a few walks. But look at that, his Ks, 8 Ks in the last game. So usually I change my kind of headings here. Again, in OOTP, you can create your own headings. So the categories that you believe are more important, you can design it so that it will show those instead of the default ones here. Haven't done that yet. Just kind of new into the new version. That will come at a later time. So Logan Webb, my diamond pitcher, well done. Frank Larry, 1 complete game recently, given up a few hits, some dud games with some high runs scored, but he is 4-1. So even though he hasn't shut teams down, the batters have come to his aid and helped him secure a few wins. Turk Farrell is 3-3. 80 gold player, allowing better. He's getting better with his runs allowed. And of course, we've got Mace Brown. Hasn't won a game yet, but other than the 1 game, he's performing okay as a silver player. And our 5th kind of intermittent starter, we have historical Ned Garvin. And you can kind of see why I slotted him in the number 5 spot, because he's, I don't trust him too much in terms of the walks that he gives up, in terms of the earned runs that he gives up. So he's going to be a candidate for a replacement as soon as someone comes along. Bullpen wise, our bullpen's doing fairly well, other than maybe Jose. He was kind of my last addition to the team. He is probably one that will be replaced. So the sidearm pitcher, although he hasn't allowed a lot of earned runs lately, he must have allowed a few early on. Let's take a look at his pitching stats. 6.23 ERA, pitched 8.2 innings, whip's pretty high. Definitely a guy I want to replace. So that is our pitching lineup. Before we look at the hitters, let's change out or see if there's any options to change out someone better than what we have right now. So the only guy I want to really consider moving back to the reserve roster was Jose. He's had 30 games, little higher ERA than I wanted. So we're going to move him back to the reserve list. None of these other guys have played a game yet, so it's going to be kind of hit and miss. I did receive a few new pitchers in the packs that I opened. Let's take a look at the silver guys. Lance McCullers Jr. Yeah, he might be a candidate in the relief role. Randy Dobnik. And Jose Berrios. Just based on overall rating, these would be the 3 guys I would consider. However, sometimes a bronze player can have some decent ratings as well that you might want to move up. I like high movement and I like high control. So I'm looking for a guy that has the high movement and the high control. I think it's going to be a 66 rated Bob Smith. Let me know in the comments. Who would you move over? Who would you give a shot at in the relief role? I'm going to move over Bob Smith. I am going to put him as just an average middle reliever. See how he does. Not the greatest selection of pitches, but he does have that 77 movement and 65 control. So he shouldn't walk too many guys. We'll see how he plays in the next dozen or so games. That's all I'm going to change for my pitching. I like my pitching. Hitter-wise, take a look at the Gladiator batters. All right, so if we look at the averages, we've got Sean Murphy performing really well, DJ really well, LeMahieu, Eddie Collins, what a stud. Bill Mueller, another stud. Owen Miller doing well. And that's kind of about it. Everyone else is kind of average or below average. If we look at the WAR, if we rank them by WAR, I'd say Bill Mueller, Eddie Collins, DJ LeMahieu, even Ramos. Those are the guys I want to keep for sure in the lineup and exactly where they are in the lineup. Based on them being on fire, these guys like the role that they're in, and I don't want to play around too much with that since there's some success with it. On the other end of the spectrum, Yastrzemski hitting 169, minus WAR. Evan White, minus WAR, 152. So these bottom four guys that are in the negative WAR, they're going to go to the reserve lineup. Kendall, Siri, White, and Yastrzemski not performing good enough. So even though they are silver players or higher ranked players, we're going to put them on the reserve roster. Siri. Who else was there? There was a first baseman, Evan White. And the other guy we had over there was Fred Kendall. Kendall, I'm going to reconsider simply because of his defense. Let's take a look. How has he played defensively? He's pretty much at even. What about our other catcher? Sean Murphy, how have you been defensively? Pretty even as well. If I look at my reserve roster and my catching positions, don't really like these guys. Not really the defense that I'm looking for. So I may get an increase in their hitting, but defensively, maybe not so much. I would consider Vasquez or Ruiz. What would you guys do? Again, always interested in your strategies. Would you keep in Fred Kendall with his high defense, or would you replace him with someone else? I'm going to keep him in for now. We'll give him a few more games. He's not hurting us defensively. Offensively, yeah, but we'll keep him in and see if he can pick up the pace. I really like his defense, though. Need to replace some of the guys that we dropped down. Looking like we might need a couple outfielders. All right, so if we go to the outfield, Garrett Anderson, I'm going to give you a shot. You're only a 70 or a 60 rated player, but I like your defense. I like your avoid Ks. Pretty decent BABIP for the level that you're at, and you can play in the outfield. Let's give you a shot. Need 2 more, at least 1 outfielder. Corey Dickerson, I don't like your eye too much. Pretty average. I like Joe Evans. He's a 54, but he's performed so well for me in previous perfect teams that I'm going to give him a shot. 1 more player, preferably a center fielder. Simon, haven't used you yet, or Reyes. Who's got the better defense? 81 range, looking good. And an 80 range. So now it comes down to the bat. Both of you don't have the power. Both of you don't have the eye. Who would you guys pick here? Who would your last addition be? Guess it doesn't even have to be an outfielder. We could go with someone else from the infield. 74 eye. 47 ranked player though. But he's decent on D. I guess it's his gap power and power that bring him down. But for me, power and gap power are the least important categories. I just want a decent defender who gets the odd hit. Lonnie, welcome to the Gladiator starting lineup. Let's go and fill our lineup in. I'm not going to make too many changes because it has been performing well. We do need to fill a couple slots. It looks like we need a DH against our left-handed pitching. Let's go to the ratings. Left-handed pitching. Garrett Anderson. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Garrett Anderson being our DH. And do I want to move him up? I think so. I'm going to move Garrett Anderson into the 7 slot. And let's see who we have in the right slot. We need another DH. So in both cases, we need a DH. So let's rank by contact with power. This time I'm going to give it to Joe Evans. He's not the greatest hitter. I'm going to move him down the lineup a little bit. A decent speed. He can play the outfield if need be. In fact, let's see if he would make a better shortstop or left fielder. Owen Miller, 53 and a 68. Joe Evans, a 60 and a 61. Joe, you get to play shortstop. Owen, you're DHing. How about our left fielder? Let's see how he is. He is top notch. Future legends. And again, I'm just going to fill in based on the AI recommendations. There we go. Actually, I did not want to do that. My mistake. Doesn't look like a lot of changes here. Let me just off screen here go and fix that up. There we go. The damage has been repaired. Back to the lineups that I originally intended. Sometimes you can go with the AI recommendations if you're just starting out and not really sure where to place your players. You might just kind of go with the AI recommendation, play a few games, see how they do, and then kind of tinker with that. I like to kind of set mine largely based on contact to begin with, And then after maybe 30, 40, 50 games, change it up based on their on-base percentage and their WAR. If someone's doing really well in their position, I don't really like to change it around too much. So let's go with that. We will submit it so that it gets saved. And we are set for another run of another 10 to 15 games. We'll see how we do. In the meantime, there was another simulation that took place. So we have played one more game. We did lose that game. However, that's because 3 players were missing because it simmed as I was making some alterations between my roster and the reserve roster. So I'll take that as a loss due to poor lineup management at time of the game. Here we look at the leaderboard. The leaderboard, the Gladiator Mel Ott is leading the entry pool in RBIs. He's got 34. Oh, Mel Ott, love this guy. Look at his hits. Couple doubles, home run, RBIs. Average? Not really too high. How about his defense? With those kind of ratings, he's above average. He's almost at a 1 with his ZR. But look at that. You are fulfilling the excitement that I had when I opened the pack in the last video and said, you will be the face of our franchise. The #1 Gladiator. At least for now, Mel. We'll see how things go. That's all for today. A little shorter episode. Wanted to show you how the team has been performing. It's doing pretty well. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, if you want me to look at anything else in the menus as I go through these videos, leave a comment and I can look at it in the next video I record. One final thing, let's take a look at some of these leaders and their ratings. Doesn't take long for some of the OOTP managers to collect some really good cards. So looks like Yuli is doing well. Ray Sanchez, a historical player, really doing well. Someone even got the Ty Cobb. I'm used to seeing Ty Cobb as a 100 perfect player or in the 90s. We got a 68, a bronze Ty Cobb, and he's ripping it up. So he's one of these meta cards so far that might be someone you might want to add to your collection. Let's see if there's any available. Let's go to the card shop. 1,000 perfect points. 1,000. Don't want to pay that much. I don't even have that much. I'm going to go to the new buy order. And I'm going to put out an offer for 330 and submit it. That means now if someone out there has a few Ty Cobbs or they want to sell their Ty Cobb, they will see my buy order of 333. And if they accept it, automatically Ty Cobb is in my account. I don't have to be logged in. I have committed to buying Ty Cobb for 333 should someone wish to sell it for that. I haven't really mastered this yet. It may be that only the highest buy order automatically gets the card if it's accepted. I'm not sure if the lower values will get the card. In fact, now that I come to think of it, maybe not. I might have had to bid higher than 750. Anyway, something to keep an eye on. We'll see next time I boot the game up if I do have a Ty Cobb in my collection, but he is performing really well at the entry pool level. Overview here in terms of batters. Michael Taylor, you, young man, are the highest WAR player so far. 2.4. Ripping it up, Michael. And in terms of pitching, the highest WAR player right now is historical John Candelaria. Interesting. He's given up 7 runs in a couple games, but still the highest ranking WAR pitcher. Keep an eye on him. He's an 89 gold player. Might be someone you might want to add to your collection. Love the stats. OOTP always does stats well. You can sort the different stats by players. You can search certain players. So if I want to search how many Ty Cobbs are in the entry pool, we got 3 Ty and we got 2 Alex Cobbs. And you can hover over it to see the stats: 256, 413, 228. So only one of them is ripping it up in the entry pool. Thank you for watching. Once again, if you haven't, just kind of move your cursor down a little bit under the video and find that thumb and click the thumbs up. Leave a comment. How's your team going? Are you in the entry pool? What's your record? Are you in the same entry pool? I'll give you a shout out. If you're in the same entry pool, let me know. In next video, we'll take a look at your team. Doing well, Gladiators. Keep it up. Thanks again for watching. It's a great day for baseball. We'll see you in the next episode.